And this love is sport. We here now.
If you on that hit squad, then hit hard. Bogart and take charge. If you got accuracy to beat the QB, then let me see you throw it deep.
What is going on, everybody? It is great to have you with us. Gather around, Skull brothers and sisters. This is Under the Lights with Minnesota Sports Talk and Purple and Gold for Days. How's everybody doing tonight? How you doing, Davey?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Feeling a little grounded this week.
I see what you did there. The Rocket didn't. I get it. Let's get some shouts right out the gate. We got Grandpa Dave in the building. If you don't already subscribe, Vikings First and Skull, hit him up. YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, your favorite podcast aggregator. Turnovers have always been the problem. Well, there is that. We got Shout Out Frozen North in the building. What's going on? We got Nigel in the building. What's going up, Nigel? Great to see you. We got one of the OGs, the McAndrews, as well as I Want to Mock Bob. Say single greatest YouTube, Twitter, Facebook handle of all time. My worth is opinion. One, it's a great handle, great bit. But two, your opinion is rarely, if ever, worthless, especially on our show. Let's see here. Apparently, the topic of conversation in the chat is what's the weather like in your area? Because I'm seeing a lot of 44 and sunny in Boise, some 35s, some 37. Shout out to one of the queens. We got Miss Ashley in the building. What's going on, Ashley? Thank you so kindly for joining us this evening. We got our Skull bro, Gary, in the building. What's going on, Gary? Good to see you as well. And we got Jada Groove. What's going on, Jada? I think this is the first time I've seen you, so thank you so much for joining us. And let's hit the reset button. As always, hit those like buttons. As our compatriot Rap would say, wipe your feet at the door. Hit those like buttons. And if you don't already subscribe to both Minnesota Sports Talk as well as Purple and Gold for Days, hit that sub button for all kinds of great content. So that's everybody in the building. I don't think I missed anybody as of yet. But yeah, the Minnesota Vikings go on the road and completely kick a game away. 3 turnovers, lose by a point. What say you, Dave?
I could have had more turnovers, honestly.
That's true.
Dobbs put the ball on the ground 3 times. 2 snaps, lost the fumble, 3. I know that was a legal hit, should have been called, but he lost the ball before he got the hit. So that was which would have erased it, right? So we could have been saved by a penalty there. Then I think the next drive, he literally threw it to the defender and it bounced out of his hands, and I think we punted. And the actual interception, it was almost luckily it was tipped, because it could have been a pick 6 if it got to the guy faster, because he was late with that. Everybody blaming not everybody, but media guys like Real Raggets and stuff blaming Ty Chandler, who, he was just late with the ball. I think Ty Chandler gave him a sufficient enough time. Everybody's complaining, well, the reason why Ty's not in there because he can't block.
Which is
that's bullshit, because earlier in the game he was
stoning
standing people up.
Yes.
And that one, he met that guy in the hole, and he held his ground to the quarterback, and he was just late throwing it to Powell. Powell's wide open. Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, to me, the first fumble, and it's been a point of contention in the media of, well, had they called that penalty, would that have still retained possession for the Vikings, because the ball, as you said, was on its way out early? I don't know. I haven't gotten an answer one way or the other, so I'll leave it at that. But his interception is just kind of one of those, hey, that was a good play by the defense. Even if you do want to say that Ty Chandler didn't do his job on the blitz pickup, there were plenty of others.
He did a sufficient amount of job on that.
There's plenty of others where he did. So this ridiculous name, by the way, Alexander Madison, is he probably slightly a better blocker on the blitz than Ty Chandler? Sure, but it ain't like it's by a while. It ain't by a wide margin, if at all. But let me get a couple of shouts. We had a couple of other people come in. We got our Skull Bro, Skull Mafia in the building. What's going on, Mafia? Good to see you. We got Sports Heaven in the building. What is going on, Sport? Good to see you as well. We got Davey Chains in the building. Zebra miss. Yes, absolutely. I'm not going to blame the Zebras for losing that game. if you'd played a perfect game and you lose on a call like that or something else, that's one thing.
They missed a few calls. There were some bad hits, and it's a little weird. I know the one that was that Alexander Madison got hit.
Mm.
I don't know. The only angle I have is from the side, and I don't feel like he hit helmet to helmet, or it was more face mask to shoulder, and he, reacted. I don't know. I don't know. That one is not nearly as bad as the one against Dobbs.
Oh, yeah, there wasn't a worse one than that. Absolutely not. Shout out Quiet Storm. What's going on, Quiet Storm? Good to see you as well as Two-Tone Tony in the building. But if we had more, well, that's kind of what I'm saying is there are times where you can say, oh, yeah, there was like 6 bad calls against us, and that was the difference. Yes, there are times. This, to me, is not one of them.
It's a Carissa Thompson report.
Yeah, well.
If we scored more points, we'd win.
I don't
understand. Me before the game. I was doing Chris Thompson reports.
Yeah, what in the world would compel somebody to just blurt out, yeah, I made crap up? Like, okay,
man.
Like, somebody bet you $1 million. Hey, you won't say this. Okay.
And she prefaced, she says, I can say this because I said it before and I didn't get fired.
Again, that's called rolling the dice.
Even worse. It's like, oh my God, should I roll the dice again?
Yeah. That's like saying, hey, I didn't get caught this time, so let's just try it again. See if I get caught this time.
Said the quiet part out loud, man. Said the quiet part out.
I don't get it. I don't get it. But having said all that, what I did say on my show last night is like, listen, there were 7 games left. We weren't going to run the table and, start off 1-4 and then run off 12 straight games. It is unfortunate that the Bears weren't able to take the Lions down to keep us within that 2-game window that you have referred to so many times. But if you're going to lose a game, better it being an AFC team on the road. Okay. Better it not be the Bears, the Packers, or the Lions. You got 4 games left in conference, all in the division. It's going to be tough to sweep Detroit, but you could theoretically win all 4 of those games. And if so, you're at 10 wins and you're in the playoffs. So at the end of, shout out to McAndrews. Yes. Funny. The guy who hit Dobbs immediately handed down with a 4-game suspension. Funny how that goes.
Well, and it's he's already suspended once.
Yeah. He's a habitual
and been fined. This is his 4th time being fined this year. So it's like, I'm surprised. It was potentially could have been for the season, for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Because how long was he suspended before? Oh, he got reduced to 2 games.
That's right. I was going to say 4 down to 2.
To 2.
Yeah.
That one was clearly leading with the crown of your helmet.
Yeah. That was a definite
doubt about it.
Yeah, that was a no doubter there. Shout out to In the Zone podcast. What's going on, Zoe? Good to see you. Thanks kindly for stopping by as well. Appreciate you guys. If you didn't hit the like buttons, hit that like button. Click. Doesn't cost you anything. And by the way, if you are so inclined, please make sure you subscribe to both Purple and Gopher Days as well as Minnesota Sports Talk if you're not already subscribed to both. Shout out, Ashley. Thank you for reminding us. Yeah, that was his first game back from suspension. And I mean, again,
he'd missed the vacation. Yeah, and he wanted to get back to it.
Apparently,
I did, however, post what fine did KOC receive for doing a toss sweep with his quarterback?
Well, there is that.
On 3rd and 1, 3 plays into the game, when we are on our 3rd quarterback,
4th actually, but yeah.
Well, the
3rd play,
only 3 have played.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll get into that.
I didn't like it. I was like, oh, this is we're running a what do we run? Toss sweep with our quarterback?
Yeah.
All right.
I can't remember if I said this last night or if I said this Sunday night on Vikings First and Skull. I said, do you remember? Oh, maybe it was with Rap on Rapping for Days. Do you remember when Christian Ponder was a rookie and we had Donovan McBounce past McNabb, and there was a play where Donovan McNabb lined up in the shotgun. Christian Ponder was the running back, and they ran a read option. Like, on what planet do you think anybody is going to fall for a read option when it's Christian Ponder who he's faking the handoff to? It is utterly ridiculous. I absolutely hated that play, but we'll get back to that in a little bit when we move to KOC.
My point with not running a play like that is because he's competitive. He's going to want to try to get that first down.
Yes.
So putting your dude in a third and I got to get the ball so I can prove myself, it's just bound to get your quarterback hurt.
Yes.
And thank God it didn't, but it could have. And there's a guy suspended for basically headhunting him.
Yeah.
And so anyways, it was just I could almost understand it if it was later in the game and we had to get that yard and we're going to clinch it kind of thing. That was not the time in your own territory, 3rd and 1, to run a toss. I don't even like a toss sweep to the running back in that situation. I don't, because any penetration would screw it up. So
I mean, to me, if you're gonna want to run a sweep with Dobbs, then just direct snap it to him and let him run like they do Lamar Jackson. That way you have TJ Hawkins
blocker.
With the extra blocker. No, absolutely. Shout out to Mateo. What's going on? People love KLC, but I hate to admit it. He has a lot of Zimmer tendencies. Seems to get out coached. Yeah, I could listen to some of that. We'll get to that later when we hit.
I feel like he can get out of that shell, and he has shown he could. Like San Francisco and Green Bay. I thought, man, he's turned the corner. And then the last 2 games happened. He gets that lead, and it's like he shuts it down.
Yeah, he takes his foot off the gas pedal. Shout out Raymond in the building. What's going on, Raymond? Good to see you as always. We got Too Evil to Hope. We knew Too Evil was going to show up tonight. I'm excited for 6 more losses. Yeah, okay. Get out of here with that. It's 5 more losses if you're going to go down that road. We're still going to beat Green Bay. I've only said that to you for 3 days in a row, but jokes aside, we ain't going down that road just yet. Shout out to the house call from the doctor. What's going on, Dr. Proto? Good to see you as well. JDT93, what's going on? Appreciate you guys as well. Yeah, we might talk a little bit of Alexander Madison. We might be able to get that as well, but I wanted to put Ashley's back up, and then we'll get back to the topic at hand here.
Well, we are talking about turnovers, so
yeah. Yeah, good point. Yeah, I don't think Dobbs was 100% after that hit. I mean, yes, he had that ridiculous touchdown to Josh Oliver.
I didn't like his body language the whole game.
He seemed kind of stung after that hit. I totally agree with what she's saying there. But yeah, let's just hit it in now. No, Bob, we're not doing that. Well, you can always count on Too Evil and Bob to bring up Carson Wentz. You can always count on that. But all right, Alexander Madison, we talked this guy up over the offseason. We co-signed on the move to move on from Dalvin Cook. We said, okay, you know what? Alexander Madison probably can't be a bell cow, but he can be the head of a committee. He just doesn't seem like he has it to me. And I'm at this point, and I've been at this point for about 4 weeks, and it was Cam Akers, and now I say Ty Chandler. But what are your thoughts on Madison, boss?
Well, this is a team you could run on, right? So he was obviously having one of his better games, but you still saw the run into the guard's butt a couple of times where he just didn't read the hole.
No,
right?
His vision's terrible.
So and then some of the runs he did have, I felt again like we thought before when he had a 290-yard games was if that was somebody else, it would have broke it for more. And then that ball was barely even touched that he fumbled.
No,
and I know people are going to Madison's defense and he's only fumbled twice all year. No, well, technically yes, but 2 were called. 2 he was given a favor by the refs and was down. Was a loss of forward motion. I think down by contact when both were not the case, right?
Right.
And then throwing all the drops. Because he was leading the league at drops at one time in receptions. And there is not a single thing I can think of Ty Chandler has done that's like really been anything that's cost us. He hasn't ever fumbled in his career. He catches the ball. The one ball that hit his hands was just a horrible pass to him that was just thrown straight into the ground behind him. That was the only ball that, I would say that he had a possible chance of catching it in that game and didn't, but he was just good the whole game. I thought the runs he didn't get, no one would have got right. It was like, but I just think he's our future. And I thought the rug got pulled under him. I thought he was coming in. They were going to ease Madison back and he was going to get featured. And, the only player that didn't sit after getting a concussion, all the other players that had concussions, they sat out a week. He's the only one that didn't. It's like, come on. What was going on there? Anyway, guess he was fine. If he's fine, he's fine, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. I'm just saying, like, there were a couple runs at the beginning of the game where I was like, oh, hey, those are good runs. And I'm thinking, boy, if that was Ty Chandler, he might have gotten some more out of it.
Might have broke it.
Yeah. So at this point, I agree with, I forget which chatter had it here just a moment ago, but it's like, okay, I am ready and just done having Alexander Mattison be the starting running back. I'm sorry. I'm just done. I'm just done with it.
In the goal line, he has not scored a touchdown. What makes you think he's going to do one now?
No, I don't know. It's ridiculous. There has been one running back rushing touchdown, and that was by Cam Akers a couple weeks ago.
You take him out and you take out someone else to put him in.
Mm-hmm.
Now Ty Chandler is a team player. There was his first drive in there that he got. He had touched the ball like 3 times in a row, and he called himself off the field. But then I also noticed that he was looking to get taken out the whole time. Every time a play would end, he started walking a little to the sideline to see if he was coming out.
Yeah.
So you can't do that to a dude. This can't be in his head that he can come out anytime. Right. I remember being a 6-man on a basketball team. I started, but I also sat. And then just knowing if I go out there for 2 minutes, I'm about to come out. It's like I know I'm coming out, and you can't play like that, man.
No,
you can't play like
you really
that.
can't. Let me get some. Excuse me. Let me get some shouts in here, but before I do, I got to get some of your. I got to get some of your lovely. What do you call it? Sounders going here? Here we go. All right. So shout out to Joey in the building. What's going on? Shout out Lamont. Thanks again for coming. As always, we got Steven in the building, and shout out Davey Chains becoming a new member of Purple and Gold for Days. Thank you so very, very kindly. We do much appreciate you. We give you one of these. Every time I play a sounder on my show, sometimes it sounds like I'm underwater for crying out loud.
Great cash, homie. Great cash, homie. Great cash, homie.
I was going to say, turn that loop up. I made that mistake. Holy shit. That's a little loud. That's all right. That's all right.
Anybody hungry?
Yeah, exactly. Tacos sound so good right now. I just had tacos the other day. I could have tacos every other day. But in all seriousness, both runners ran hard, have to protect the ball. Yeah, again, Denver's rush defense is rather mediocre at best, to say the least. So again, it's one of those. Yeah, we like
Madison
that.
Was having one of his better games. Again, we still have that feeling that some of those runs could have broke off for more.
Yes, that's why I'm saying.
Not gonna sugarcoat it. I just feel like some of those runs could be broken off for more, and I just feel like Ty Chandler's just better in the passing game too.
Yeah,
and he can do more. I just
3rd
think
and 20. And he got that 19 yards. He almost had the whole thing, so they had to go for it. That's fine. But 3rd and 20, and he dumps it up. Great play design, by the way, to have everybody cross right and just leave the field wide open for him. But I thought he was going to get maybe 12 yards out of it, and he got 19 and a half. So, yeah, I'm just ready to say, hey,
and his stats are padded as 2 fake punts this year. But
and that's true. I did point that out when I was looking at their averages and that sort of deal. But even with that said, he's more explosive. He hits the holes better. He's got better vision. He's not running into his old linemen's butts. I just don't understand. And I jokingly said this, like, does he have pictures of KOC in a compromising position to where he's always just going to give him the starting role? I don't know. I don't know, but we'll see. Yeah, and you're right, Change. Madison is definitely not a Leroy Horde. Absolutely not.
He's great with what he is. If he's our backup running back,
yes,
it's like one of the better backup running backs in the league. I just want that guy that could take the lid off, and we have him. I know I was seeing someone saying we should get Darrell Henderson, who's got fucking 50 carries for 110 yards this year. I'm like, I used to like him in fantasy and a spot start, but we got Ty Chandler. I'm fine with him.
I'm fine with him too.
If you want Darrell to sit the bench, that's fine, but I don't want any more snaps taken away. I think it's obvious Ty Chandler's earned more spots. We're going to see him this amount or better the rest of the year. Hopefully it's better. You just go with the hot hand. Just go with the hot hand. After the fumble, who was the first running back out there? Alexander Mattison.
Yeah.
What did you say about
I was about to say, move
holding people accountable?
Move the slide to KOC. Let's move on to that topic.
Yeah. So
because you haven't shown me how to do.
We're on KOC now.
Yeah,
there we go.
There we go.
All right. So KOC said hold people accountable. And the first person you put back out there is Alexander Madison.
Yeah.
The next play, the next time we get the ball. So I mean, come on. And I think we punted. I think we didn't get anywhere. First play was dead. Running play was dead. I don't think we did anything after that drive.
No, I don't think so. I don't remember.
I can't remember, but it was maybe that was the fake punt. I don't know.
Well, I'll say this. He has this sense of loyalty, and it drives me crazy in some instances. And I said this last night. He reminds me of his undying loyalty to Ed Donashell last year, when it was obvious to everybody that Ed Donashell didn't know what he was doing and that he either should have been fired or had the play calling duties taken away from him. I don't understand why. Yeah. So I don't understand why KOC was loyal to him to the end of the year. I don't understand why he's this loyal to Alexander Madison. And let me be clear for the 87th time, and I know you guys who watch our shows religiously have heard me say this. It's nothing personal against Alexander. We like the guy. I said we've had our dad. We've had his dad on our shows, met him and some of his family members at Skullfest. It's not that we're trying to be anti-Alexander Madison. It's just, hey, you got to do what's best for the team. At least that's what
I still want him on the team. I want him here next year too. I'm not cutting him. No, we need running backs, but I don't. Absolutely. I think we have a better one on the team. That's all.
But to your point about KOC talking the talk about, well, I'm going to start holding these guys responsible. Okay, if it's Justin Jefferson, you're not going to bench him, and you're not going to bench your quarterbacks because what else do you got? But you had a perfect opportunity. It reminds me, I said this last night. So again, people who heard me say this last night, I apologize, but it's KOC. You are the head coach. You're not their friend. Just like any parent knows, you got to tell your kids once in a while, I'm your father. I am not one of your friends. So don't talk to me like I'm one of your friends. Occasionally, I have to say things to you that you don't want to hear, or I've got to make choices that might hurt your feelings. I'm sorry, KOC. You can't avoid hurting everybody's feelings all the time. You just can't. Anyway, let me get some shouts because
it's something that's accepted. Mm-hmm. A player would accept this and want to prove himself. You will send a message to him clear as a bell. Put Ty Chandler out there for the next true drives, and then give it back to Madison and the spell the rest of the game.
Right,
that just makes sense. It just makes too much sense.
Yes, I don't know. Shout out Rap in the building. What's going on, RAP? If you don't already subscribe to Purple Pocket Podcast, hit up our brother and get him.
We had cooked.
I'm getting there. Shout out to Greg GMAX72. What's going on? The best thing you do when you have a fumbling problem is just stop. Yeah. Something like that. Gary asked the question, what round next year? I say 3. I'm not doing first or second. No, absolutely not. But I'd say the earliest I would start thinking about it is 3rd round. But what do you think?
I like Ty Chandler just so much.
Well, we need some depth.
I know. But we have, who knows what we'll see with McBride next year. And free agency. So I'd rather fill in, because I am so high on Ty Chandler and Madison being a capable backup, and then just to have a third guy like McBride, I would rather go find a cheap guy in free agency here and there, and there'll be plenty of them, and then spend anywhere higher than a 5th round on a running back, unless there was some like crazy good. We can't pass this shit up kind of.
Well, right. Yeah. If it's something like that, no, absolutely.
It'd have to be like, holy crap, this guy's still here. Kind of like Cook. Like, how the hell is Cook still here? We lucked out and got him.
Mm-hmm. No, it's because of his injury history. That had a little something to do with it. But all right. So I'm sorry. Now somebody's hit one of my pet peeves. So if we're going to play that game, we're going to play this game. Name the running back. 10 games played, 49 carries, and 160 yards for a 3.3 average. Can you name me that running back? I'll give you 3 guesses. You'll only need 1.
Leroy Horde.
No, this season.
What? This season?
This season, yes. I'll give you a hint. I didn't think you'd need one, but I'll give you a hint.
I'm just sorry. What's the question again? Go ahead.
All right, name this. He says, let's play guess that player. 1187, 8 touchdowns and a long of 81. And I say, all right, let's guess the player. 49 carries, 160 yards, and no touchdowns.
Dalvin Cook.
Yeah, and the guy I'm naming is this year's Dalvin Cook. 49 for 160. 49 for 160. Same amount of touchdowns as Alexander Madison. Yeah, If you want to chase last year's box score, go ahead, Rep. But you've seen he hasn't done anything. You really think he's going to be doing much more here? I don't know. I'll let you and him hash that out over on Purple and Scope Media here in about an hour. So but I digress.
That's Dalvin Cook's stats this year.
Yes.
Jesus.
That's
bad.
10 games, 49 carries, 160 yards. So.
It's tough to like argue that you should get more. You know. Anyways.
Yeah, I totally agree.
I have an Aaron Rodgers would have helped, but
true. No, that's absolutely true. But no, as far as KOC goes, I didn't like the second half last week. I didn't like some of the play calls this week, particularly on that first drive. And again, some of it, Alexander Madison's fumble was the turning point in that game because they were up 8. They were driving, could have gone up 11, maybe 14.
We would have been in field goal range after the run. Yeah, it would have been a 54-yarder or something like that.
Right, and out in Denver, that's really 47.
It was first down, wasn't it?
First or second, yeah. So again, that wouldn't have completely killed the drive. Oh, and Steve said Kenny Nwangwu. We got to get him some touches too. So
he had a great run the week before.
Yeah. I don't understand it. I don't understand. The answer to Two Evils obligatory weekly question is no, not tonight, but tune in next week or the week after, whatever the case may be. But no, we're not hitting that one up tonight. We are absolutely not doing that.
I can change it.
No. Anything else you want to hit?
Here's one thing. I keep seeing Kirk Cousins would have never scored that touchdown. No, we would have probably ran different plays. He probably would have known where everybody was at. we might have scored faster. We might have scored slower. It would be different. It's trade a 15-yard. But I did say during the thing is that Dobbs is dangerous in the red zone. I like him in the red zone big time. And
even I said
throw a few more rollouts in this guy. You know. But
shout out North
Good
to see you.
I don't like cutting off half the field though. Because
that's true. But you can do it once in a while. 3-4 times a game. Once a quarter is not, completely throwing out your half of your playbook for crying out loud. I mean, but to circle back to your comment about Cousins, I said it. Cousins would have got sacked and Dobbs got out of that. Well, Cousins might have already had the ball out to a wide receiver. So let's be fair about it.
There was a play where Dobbs starts running for his life, and I'm like, there's somebody wide ass open right in the middle of the field.
Right.
I'm like, you know where your guys are at. He might, maybe that's not the case, but there were plenty of plays in that game where he was scrambling.
Mm-hmm.
His back was turned to the line, and his head was down, trying to find his way out, and he wasn't even in that deep of trouble. Now, one of those plays, he was able to escape and got close to a first down.
Yeah.
But there's still that I don't know the whole playbook. We can't have the whole playbook yet.
Right.
He doesn't know exactly where everybody's at. I think if he does, he knows that he doesn't throw a pick, even though his tip, he was late. If he threw a line drive, that might have been pick 6. But hell of a tackle by Ty Chandler, though.
Absolutely.
He laid the wood on that hit.
Absolutely.
It was not as big as Jefferson's, but
no.
Bucks.
I don't know that there'll be a bigger hit this season than that one.
I think that's the biggest hit of the year. But yeah, I mean, we got to play within ourselves. And Dobbs has played within himself. And again, he has like, I don't know how many fumbles on the season. A lot with him with this.
Yes.
Not just with us, but throughout the entire season. If he protects the ball, we're making the playoffs. I would have thought we had a shot at the division title until this week.
Mm-hmm.
And I was telling Rap, I was like, dude, if we win the division, we had the tiebreaker against San Fran. We could be the 2nd seed, but not after this.
No.
Yeah, that's one of the things I saw a take that said this game doesn't matter. It's the least mattered a loss of any game ever. It's a road game at night on Sunday Night Football. When have we not thought those were big games? Why all of a sudden are those not big games? What it did to us gave us no chance of the division title.
I think he was talking about I think
very limited chance of division title.
Yeah, I think he was talking in the context of if for the Vikings to make the playoffs, because it's the furthest down in the tiebreakers, being that it was an AFC game and it was so out of conference, out of division. I mean, yes, if you're
we were talking about must-win games last year when we were 7-3.
I was just going to say that. Or 9-2 or whatever it was. Yeah.
We were like 9-2, and this is a must-win game. I'm like, it was now we're like, oh, this game don't matter.
No, it was a must-win game if you wanted to get the 2 seed, which it turned out to be. And I agree with you that to say that it was the most meaningless loss or it was the least inconsequential, I agree with what you're saying.
Say it against Kansas City. That's a meaningless loss too, but it didn't feel like it, did it?
Yeah, I mean, realistically, if this team could get out of its own way, they could easily be 9-2, where their only 2 losses are to Kansas City and Philly, and even those were close games.
I mean, we have 5 losses because of turnovers. In Kansas City, 1 turnover and a couple ref calls, but like 7 drops too. Mm-hmm. That was just a horrible game by our receivers. It's like Kansas City's receivers drop disease infected us in that game.
Real quick, shout out to Grandpa Dave. Yeah, I'm gonna be out of town after work tomorrow, so I had to get rid of all my milk and my orange juice. So yes, I'm chucking orange juice tonight. No, there's no alcohol.
No bachelor alcohol. Drinking out of the carton.
Pretty much, Well, when you're a single dad and your kid doesn't drink orange juice, you can be bachelor just chugging out of the thing there. But real quick, shout out to Drop Shot Jake in the building. What's going on? Yes, and yes. Well, we might touch on that one here in just a moment here. But shout out Mateo as well. Let's name people who would have been better versions of Madison's at quarter. At safety, Lewisine. Yeah, I knew you had to get the Lewisine drop in there. But shout out to Mateo there as well. Let's see. Dobbs' issue has always been accuracy and time.
He had shown a lot better accuracy up until this game. And hey, are you muted?
Yeah, my sound went out for a second. Then I started talking again, and I forgot that when that happens, it goes to mute. So thank you for reminding me. That happened on one of my own shows, and it took about 3 minutes for somebody to finally get my attention. But anyway, thank you for that. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, I don't know if it was an accuracy issue or a bad decision issue today or Sunday. Mm-hmm. I think it was maybe more forcing it on a couple of his throws.
Maybe. To me,
the guys were covered, and like the last play of the game for him, he threw it to nobody. So it's not like it wasn't. I don't know if there was anybody open. But I think there was a couple plays like that in the second drive that he just forced that. It was threw it to nobody. He was on that pick. He was going to force it to Powell late.
Yeah.
It's I don't know if it was a bad decision or an accuracy issue to the game. I'm thinking I think they got the book on him. I know I've said this with other quarterbacks. Blitz him. That's what they did, and it got to him a couple of times. Frustrated him.
Well, I think hopefully you get this one game against Chicago, and then you got your bye week, and hopefully you can elevate some of the accuracy and timing issues and all that stuff.
He's still a good quarterback in my book. He can win us games to get to the playoffs with this.
I will say this is exactly,
and he's exciting.
Yeah, to Ashley's point, maybe that hit early on, shook the cobwebs a little bit.
I agree. I mean, that could affect a dude.
So we'll see. We'll see come next Monday night. You get an extra day of rest, and then you've got your bye week after that. So before we go, anything else on the KOC before we go over to injuries?
Hey, there's a few good call outs. Well-designed fake punt. I mean, if you got the numbers, that's just a no-brainer. I'll take this first down. So that was a great call. The only way I would have not called it was a good call because it's just you have the numbers, do it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's perfect. That's well designed. What else would I'd say? Yeah, we've said it all so far. There's still that you taking that foot off the gas type thing, coming out there and running 2 Russian plays, after, when you were like, holy, let's go. We just got the first down with Ty Chandler and we snuck it, right? And what do? We go and run it twice. God, just it's frustrating me.
Yeah. Gary. Hold on a minute. Split pea soup. I mean, ham and beans I can listen to. Split pea soup, Gary? Seriously? I'm not into peas at all, much less split peas. But hey, if that's what does it for you, I ain't hating on it. I'm just saying, split pea soup. No, thank you. What do you say at this split pea soup, Dave?
I think I may have had it once.
And that was it.
I can't remember, but I like ham.
Yeah, I love ham. Yeah, right. I like the ham part of it. Yes.
So you had me at ham.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And not CJ. But
anyway. You making any goulash for me?
Goulash I could handle. I can handle these goulash. Absolutely. All right, so everybody. Oh, Ash. Oh, well, all right. Again, if it floats your boat, ladies, hey, whatever. It's all good. It's all good.
Justin hates split pea soup.
Yeah, split pea soup and green bean casserole. No, absolutely not. My mom made my brother and I eat green bean casserole at Christmas, and that was the only way we could open presents on Christmas Eve night. Oh, gosh. Oh. But I digress. All right, injuries. Do you think Justin Jefferson plays? That's the question on anybody's mind, regardless of people's fantasy football impacts and all that other bull crap out there.
I posted that dude, and some people are like, "Don't give this guy any attention." I'm like, "No, I want to give him all the fucking attention he wants." If he wants everybody to know how big an asshole he is, I'm ready to expedite that process. I'm just sorry, that dude with the fantasy take.
Yeah,
and I went and watched I went and watched this Joe Burrow take too. And I'm like, I agreed with a lot of it, but 53 million for a quarterback. But yeah, I'm sorry. Just guy goes down and you start dicking on people. I'm like, you're going to get all the smoke you want. Go ahead. But injuries, if he played, if he, with the bye coming up, I don't know. Why would you do it? Why would you play him if you haven't played him already? So,
well, I mean, if he's ready to go, then
if he's full practice all week, then yeah. But if he's not full practice, if he's limited game day questionable, then why would you play him? You haven't played him all year or the last 2 weeks. He's been questionable 2 weeks in a row now.
Oh, I'm saying if he's 100% healthy, do you play him or do you just sit him one more week and give him?
I would 100%. I'd play him if he's 100%. Yeah. Yeah, I don't sit a healthy player. No.
Okay. Well, I guess to me, I really think that, you had the element of surprise with Josh Dobbs in Atlanta and New Orleans. And I think that element of surprise is gone. And I think that if you get JJ back, you're going to then have something more to work with there where maybe, if they decide to keep a spy on him, that he has more opportunities to get the passing game going real quick. I'll let you respond.
Not throwing the ball downfield at all.
That's the thing. How about we try? It at least once or twice a game? Shout out to Nutmeg. What's going on, Nutmeg? Appreciate you. Shout out to Eric in New Mexico. What's going on? Say hello to Ferindo and Quell for us. We very much appreciate it. And as long as I'm doing this here, if you haven't hit that subscribe button or that like button on the channels, hit that like button, please. Hit that like button. Let's get this going here. But in all seriousness, to me, I'm not going to rush JJ back, but if he's ready, I want to see him out there because Dobbs needs to have something else because we've seen that the league has somewhat caught up with him a little bit. And to me, it's like we need to get all the way. It's crunch time here now. You got 6 games left. You have the latest possible bye, I believe, in week 13. So you're going to have 5 games left after the bye. Let's go. We want to make these playoffs. We got to get going here because the defense can only bail you out so many times. The defense has played extremely well and has bailed us out more times than I can remember. But to me, it's like, okay, get all the weapons out there. What say you?
You kind of want to see what you got going into the bye. Can he play? How is the offense going to handle? I just you want you're throwing me off. I'm like reading because you're pointing at stuff. But I want to see what you'd want to see what you had going into that bye so you can make adjustments, see what's working, whatever with the player. On the same point as, hey, you got a long anybody that's hurt might sit because they could be sit for 2 weeks, and recover. Last thing you want is Justin get hurt or have some other injury and then
or re-aggravation.
Re-aggravate. Yeah, if you re-aggravate your hammy, he might be just go back on the DL. Had that injury before, and I couldn't do anything for weeks. Just couldn't do anything for weeks. I couldn't. Yeah, being a world class athlete, I don't think you'd go out there and obviously a different type of elite athlete with a little more fast twitch muscles than I got. I couldn't imagine being that explosive and not have it there, and not have that, burst from one leg, it's like, so, yeah. As far as the other guys, I think we're missing Jordan Hicks. What did Dye get? 1 tackle? Barr played, didn't he? I don't know.
Barr played. Absolutely.
I didn't see our linebackers.
Pace did all right. I mean, he played every snap and he was representable, I would say. He didn't splash plays.
I would say that he wasn't blitzing very well, if I'm not mistaken. Like he couldn't, he's always getting picked up, if I'm not mistaken. If my memory serves me right, because I was looking. Good time to get Hickson, Akeem Hickson here now that we lost a guy. I don't know. We got space. Let's bring him in. I don't know. I do feel like we've done fairly well against the run.
Yeah.
So
it was not the like swing passes in that last drive. The Phillips.
Yeah. People need to apologize for Harrison Phillips. He's been all that in a bag of chips this year.
He's been solid.
I even apologize. Because I thought he was just, I probably said he was just a dude too, once or twice.
The Harrison Phillips, I was never too down. The guy I was down on was Dean Lowry.
Like above average.
Yeah. The guy I was down on was Dean Lowry. I'm just like, okay.
I was like hoping 2 years ago he was a stud. Well, he had a highlight reel. And
was he a stud though because he was, or because he was playing on a line with Preston, Zadarius Smith, along with Kenny Clark? I mean,
Zadarius was out the whole year.
Well, that's true, but okay, it's fine. Preston Smith and Kenny Clark were next to him. I mean,
true. He had probably had one-on-one a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, shout out, Yogi.
Then last year the next year he wasn't. So it's like he's who is the right guy, and apparently the 2022 version of him.
Yeah.
So shout Lowry hadn't done much anyway, so it's not a huge loss. I like who did Tonga had a really good play.
Mm-hmm. Need to see more of that.
I've seen that from Jaquelin Roy too earlier in the year. I love that they're getting more time. I spoke way too soon about Blackman. It's his worst game, and he gets a start and he disappoints.
No, he was not very good. Real quick,
disappointed.
I want to get this one from Gary. Chicken dumplings. Now that I'll go with.
I'll take dumplings
all day, every day.
Next to a Czech community.
I will say this:
dumplings.
Back to Ashley. I'll say this, Ashley, if you and Josh are ever in the Twin Cities around the holidays, and again, I realize that that's highly unlikely, but you can come over to my parents' house and you can have all of the green bean casserole that you want, and you can also have mine. But anyhow, if my mom ever watches this, see, other people do eat green bean casserole, Justin. It's not just me. But anyway, I digress. All right, enough of the food talk. We got all kinds of food talk in the chat here, but
anybody else that's coming back off an injury? I know Reed. Chris?
Yeah, Reed was. I believe
he's back.
He was.
Yeah, he's been elevated.
I will. That's the only one that I can recall. But let me ask you this, because that brings up a very good point. I said this last night. When Justin Jefferson gets back, I want JJ as the 1, Addison as the 2, and I actually want Brandon Powell as a 3. Am I crazy for kicking KJ Osborne to the curb? Aside from the fact that, this is his last season here, yesterday or Sunday night didn't do all that much. What say you?
Powell has been so clutch.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. God. Would you put him as 3 over KJ?
Personally, yeah.
Yeah, no, I know that KOC is not going to. We already talked about his loyalty issues. But
I'm not shocked that KOC doesn't put him at wide receiver 2 again. I wouldn't be shocked.
No, that's a very good point. I hope you're
right. I'm actually expecting it. I'm actually expecting it.
Yeah, that's a good point. I like this one from Frozen. Maybe Akeem Hicks can play running the whole refrigerator bit. Shout out Sarah in the building. What's going on, Queen? We have an Alexander Madison problem. Yes, absolutely. And real quick, if you guys didn't hear Sunday night or last night, everybody get some prayers up for Sarah, who was in a motor vehicle accident Sunday. Very, very scary. Glad you're okay, Sarah. And I'm going to say that for a couple weeks here now. But thanks for stopping in. Everybody get a shout to Sarah here real quick. More food talk. Tater talk casserole. Yes, I'm down with that. I'm absolutely down with that. I'm absolutely down with that.
That plays.
Yes, we do need Reggie. Yes, you are correct, Doctor. Reggie is a guy who he's on a Rhino show, Vikings Uncensored. He's always talking about grilling and all other kind of stuff there. And Grandpa Dave, venison chili. That's not fair, dude. That is so not fair. Now, I'm really hungry. I'm really hungry now. But dude, anyway,
when I was in Panama, because it's pretty Americanized, right? And because I showed up, they decided to have like it was during Thanksgiving. They decided to have a Thanksgiving for me. And I'm like, why is this turkey green? They had put, what's that? I forget what it's called, but it's a green plant, and it's made the whole thing green, and it had this weird taste to it. And I'm like, it's great. It tastes just like Mom.
Yeah, there you go. Shout out to Lemmy. Maybe if KOC bends Madison for Chandler and come up with a better running scheme, maybe Dobbs will be more comfortable. I could see some of that. Again, not to go back on the subject we've already talked about. It's just I don't understand it. I really don't understand it. You have so much evidence that says that should be the right play. A shout out
to Ty Chandler is a mature player. He's older than Madison.
Yes, I was just gonna say
he's like a half year older, both 25, half year older than Madison, or how many months, whatever. And he reminds me of the way Jordan Addison is. This game is not too big for him.
Right.
He doesn't seem like it's the game's. Yeah, like I said, it just doesn't seem like the game's too big for him. I'm sure he might need more experience, but the dude's 25 and he played 5 years of college. So
yeah. Shout out T-Bass building. What's going on, T-Bass? Good to see you. Yeah, I had a hunch he was going to go there. He's of the opinion that JJ needs to play regardless. And he did make a good point. TJ Hawkinson's out there sucking it up and all that good stuff. So I could listen to that. But dusting off my bottle of Italian. Nice.
And I think TJ needs those grips. Those grips.
Yes.
Those metal plastic hand grips my dad used back in the day. Because twice a ball got, and honestly, it was probably good because with the clock would have ran on that second one.
Yeah, the first one I didn't have it ended up being better for him anyway. But yeah, T-Bass, you don't have to remind me. Get sore every day. But in all seriousness, good that Sarah's okay. All right. Joey says, if we want Powell, KLC will play KJ. If we want Chandler, KLC will play Madison. If we want Addison, he's probably riding the point. Well, you might be onto something there. I want to find out what he's thinking.
What are you thinking? What is your thought process other than just loyalty to guys who've been there longer? That's the only way I could think. You didn't have that loyalty. You put Ed Ingram in there right away, and he had a bad game. I don't know if I seen one play Dalton Reisner had, but honestly, it wasn't him. He blocked his guy. Linebacker made the play.
Yeah.
I didn't, but I'm thinking about going back and watch the offensive line after that week.
Yeah. Well, it goes back to something that I had said in the off season after, the season had ended and what we're going to do. And I said, no more sacred cows. Put the sacred cows out to pasture. You're not getting a free pass just because, loyalty plays on. That's why they got rid of Dalvin Cook and Adam Thielen, Eric Kendricks, Patrick Peterson, and Dalvin Tomlinson were more cap casualties because they just made more money on the open market that we could afford. But to me, I don't understand this undying loyalty. I just don't. I mean, again, I understand wanting to be a player's coach and wanting to be the opposite of the tyrant that was Mike Zimmer. But Mike Zimmer would have benched Alexander Madison and he would have called him out. He wouldn't be throwing himself under the bus the way KOC is. All right, we got 11 minutes left because we're going to keep it to an hour tonight, ladies and gentlemen. And so let's move on to the Bears, who should have beaten the Lions, up 12 with 4 minutes left. You idiots. Your thoughts on the Bears? To me, I'm not going to say they should mollywop them because the Vikings don't mollywop anybody. I mean, yeah, they won by 14 against Green Bay, but even then it was a little closer than it needed to be. They should beat these Bears by at least 17 points. They're not going to. They're going to win by 7. That's my early prediction, but what say you?
It just shows you how turnovers affect the team, right? Because Lions were turning the ball over, and then they made some plays and got the lead and had 2 scorers, but you're a bad team. You let 2 march the length of the field twice.
Mm-hmm.
I think we win that game. And this reminds me, I think we win that game if Wright can stop kicking into the end zone. I just kick it, out of bounds or something. I don't know what he keeps kicking in the end zone. It's a special teams thing or whatever.
Well, maybe he was just off a little bit with the elevation. Maybe he overswung. I don't know.
He hasn't been good at it all year. When last year he never had one touchback the whole year. Mm-hmm. It's crazy how he could be so good at it last year and not so good at it this year. And one of them, give credit, land on the 6-yard line. If Najee Thompson doesn't get blocked through the back of the end zone, he probably makes that play.
Yeah.
So I don't blame it. That was a good one. But that last one wasn't. The Bears, it's a bad team if you get like a guy twice go all the way down the field like that. Mm-hmm. And they made it look easy.
Yeah. So it's hot knife through butter. They put no resistance up whatsoever. I hope
had a tweet ready. Same old Lions.
Yes, I know.
I had to freaking erase it.
Well, I'll say this to the point that Frozen North has made here. I said this: if you're going to call the Vikings frauds all last year for all these 1-score games and negative point differentials and all that, yes, I know the Lions don't have a negative point differential, but have the same energy for the Lions this season that you had for the Vikings last season. That's all I'm going to say right now. Is like, okay, we beat the Bills and we're 8-1, and then we get mollywopped by the Dallas Cowboys, and then we hang on for a victory against the Patriots. And fine, okay, you want to say what it was, particularly with how the season ended, okay, but you should be having the same energy. But now, no, these Lions, they find a way to win. That's the sign of a good team, is that they find a way to win. Funny how that wasn't the case last year. That's all I'm saying, is have that same energy, as you say.
It's I don't know. People have an aversion to the color purple. I don't know. Mm. It's like, and I mean, it was Goff's probably worst game until the end. And he looked like freaking Joe Montana. He only had, with those 2 drives, he still only had 236 yards, right? Mm-hmm. It's like, holy crap, 3 picks. I think there was, I don't know about all of them though. I know I remember watching Micro Mike, and that's a Detroit guy, right?
I think so.
Yeah. He was, I saw him. He was pulling his hair out at the beginning of the game because of the mistakes that were going on. We may have to worry more about their running game than anything. Because really, it's just on St. Brown, right? And Laporta,
that's the vast majority of their pass. Yep.
Yeah, it's maybe.
But their whole line is really good. Their whole line is stout. They can run block and pass block. Absolutely, they can.
So, I mean, you could game plan for these guys. We did it very well that first game, and that one was on the road. Maybe the book's still not out on Dobbs, but their defense isn't that good, right? So,
yeah, again, to the point of, I forget which one, talking about a trap game. I think it was Joey who said it. Let's see if I can find it. Wow, I can't. Yeah, there it is. I see what you're saying, Joey, and it can be, but one of Denny Green's old adages was you win going into and coming out of the bye week, and that's the sign.
He was good at it.
Yeah, and he was very good at it, actually.
Zimmer wasn't.
Say what?
Zimmer wasn't.
No, not so much.
Not at all.
So, to me, it's the stink of the loss on Sunday is easily erased. You can get a W come Monday night going into the bye week, regardless of whether you have Justin Jefferson or not. And yeah, it's a division game. Division games are always going to be weird and funny. There's always things that happen in division games that you're just like, what the heck just happened here? And how did this happen?
I just felt that whole game. We are better than these guys. We are better than these guys. Yeah, we're better than these guys. And I feel like going into that Bears game, I'm going to feel like that the whole time too. I don't think they could do anything to us that would be like, oh, they shut us down, and I don't think our defense is going to waver. I think we're past that. I think, gosh, I just felt that, the Kansas City game, or was it the game before that against, since Carolina, I think this defense has taken a turn, and it's been completely consistent since. It's just a different team than different defensive unit than the first 3 games, I feel.
Well, I think we're just going to wrap by saying this. Get that W, get off the schneid. You weren't going to run the table. I'm not saying it was a completely pointless loss. I'm not going to go as far as Declan did, because I'm like, okay, let's not go that far. But at the same time, it was an AFC game. If you're going to, this is what I said at the beginning, if you're going to lose one, that's the one to lose. But come back, get a victory against Chicago, go into the bye where you got your last 2 AFC games against the Raiders and the Bungles. You could very easily go 2-0 in those games as well. So you can get back on that 3-game winning streak before you hit your last 3 games with Detroit, Green Bay, and Detroit again. And we'll be all right. And I think they're going to beat you. I honestly do. I honestly think that KOC is not going to be like, no, we're not doing this again. And maybe he will get motivated to finally change up some stuff or to open up the playbook a little bit more for Dobbs. But shout out T-Best. Yes, that's one of T-Best's thing. He had head coaching experience before KOC does too, or before KOC did. So I like this one from Joey. Danny was a perfect mix between Zimmer and KOC. Yeah, I could say that's a very good point, Joey. That's a very good point. So appreciate you. Appreciate all of you guys and gals for stopping in tonight. Any last words here, Dave, before we get up out of here and let you get your break in before you have the show with Rap? And again, tune in over on Purple and Skull Media for Skull Live with Rap and Dave here as well. But any last thoughts here before we get out?
I don't know. I think if we're like 9-8, I suppose we still have a chance to make the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
But I think 10 wins is important.
Yeah.
And
you get to 10, you're in.
So, Bears, Raiders, Bengals, right? Bengals are probably easier game now, obviously. Right. Raiders playing better, but we should beat these guys, Bears. And then, we play the Lions, Packers, and Lions. So it's like 3 division games. So anything could happen, like you said, in division games. So we really can't have another meaningless loss.
Right.
We can't have another meaningless loss. We got to get a 2-game lead going into the last week. That's the way I feel.
There you go.
We need a 2-game lead going into the last game against the Lions on the road, right? Yeah, right. On the road, right? So we need a 2-game lead going into that in the playoffs.
But Ninely Magic, thank you kindly for joining us here. I know you're coming in at the end, so just hit the rewind button and start it up again. And that's a beautiful thing about YouTube. But shout out to Benightly Manic Guy as well for joining us here. So one last time, hit those like buttons, and whichever channel you watch it on, if you could go to the other channel and hit the like button there. And if you don't already subscribe to Purple and Gold for Days or Minnesota Sports Talk, hit that subscribe button. Consider the membership button there as well. We're on Mondays and Thursdays. If you want to get on the mic with me during my Skull for Days show, you can get that, as well as the Ask Justin Anything mailbag, where I will do videos for members only on any topic, Vikings or NFL related. No, do not ask me about Kirk Cousins' cap number. That's shout out to Two Evil there as well. Do want to thank everybody for joining us as always. Tomorrow night, what do you got for the Skull Experience with the GG boys?
We're just happy that they're at 1,000 subscribers, and they said me being their 1,000th subscriber, because I subscribed. They had $9.99, and I subscribed with Skull Shorts, NFL Shorts. And I became their 1,000th subscribers. So they said I could, for being the 1,000th subscriber, that I could be on the show with them tomorrow night. So that was nice of them. 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central. The Skull Experience. Come.
You have a guest?
Nope. Come congratulate those dudes for hitting 1,000.
Absolutely. I don't know what I am doing on Thursday for Skull for Days, Thursdays Talkers, because, well, it's Thanksgiving. I don't know if I'm going to go live for a quick hitter during halftime of the third game, or if I'm just going to be too hungover from food coma or getting my drinks on and all that other good stuff. So I might record something and air it, or I might just air something midday Friday during Black Friday festivities. I am candidly not sure. Either way, subscribe to both channels and hit that notification bell so that whenever we drop an episode or whenever we have a live episode, occasionally YouTube might actually give you the notifications. I know that is a hit or miss sometime. Shout out T-Bass with the $20 super chat to Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Let's give T-Bass some noise here. Here we go.
Straight cash, homie.
Appreciate you as always, T-Bass, and appreciate everybody for dropping in here tonight. Thank you so kindly as always for joining us. Come on back to Minnesota Sports Talk tomorrow night, 6:30 Central Time for the Skull Experience with Dave, as well as GG Sports. Everybody have a happy and safe Thanksgiving. If you're traveling, be safe. Want to be with all your family members. Drink all your drinks of choice. Eat all your food, but everybody stay safe. Thank you kindly as always for joining us. Good night, Skull Vikings. We'll see you Monday night. Good night.